Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Folks, again, this is Bruce Broussard, your host here at Oregon Voters Digest. As you can see from the screen and the presentation right off the front, the branding is, we've sort of like upgraded the branding a bit and whatever, but we're in for some exciting times here coming in the future here as far as the Oregon Voters Digest. As you note, we're getting right into the elections, and I was just reminded my co-host here, Renee Kimball, about we've got about 8 weeks to do this stuff. There's going to be some heavy times here, especially in the state of Oregon. I mean, naturally, we got the national situation. But look like President Trump is kind of like taking the lead on that with CNN and Fox. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that we're going to be doing some neat things. We're going to be educating you about what's going on in Oregon. And again, we're going to be targeting probably the largest county and the largest city in the state, in our state, and that is Portland, Oregon, and Multnomah County. And they've got all sorts of activities in that arena, big time. And there are a number of measures. And in fact, Renee was just telling me that she's already busy on some measures right now that she's very much involved in. I don't know how many more are going to be on there, but I'm guessing going to be all kinds of stuff. But anyway, we got some things. We got a lot of things going, and I thought what we'll do, we'll just have sort of a general discussion in this particular hour to give you some sense of what to be expecting here in the next 8 weeks or whatever, and what's going to be appearing on the Oregon Voters Digest. Now, as you know, we've got 4 shows. We've got 4 shows on in the month, and one of those shows is going to be dedicated to veterans. As you notice, I've been wearing my paraphernalias and whatever, and we're going to be basically reaching out to vets. There's another organization, by the way, No Vets Left Behind in Oregon, and we're going to be vetting out all of these service organizations for vets outside of the VA, and just basically looking at them and sharing with you what are some of the services that are available to veterans, and hopefully that will get out to and resonate with individuals that haven't signed up for these services or whatever. And then, from a futuristic standpoint, maybe develop some sort of a booklet that sort of lists all of these organizations, if you will, along that line. This is the VA stuff as far as benefits, but the bottom line is that we're going to have some exciting things about veterans, and that announcement, by the way, will probably be about another 2 weeks out. About another 2 weeks out, specifically for the Veterans Show. And to the one, I'll probably have the VFW with me as kind of the co-host. They're veterans of foreign war, and so the whole idea is that they are very much involved in the VA as far as benefits are concerned, and they do a lot of other things. You might have seen them with the red poppies in the front of the stores.
They're the red poppies.
Yeah, the red poppies in the stores, and that's the VFW. They pretty well have the contract with the VA to basically put the paperwork together for the vets that are looking for services and whatever. So anyway, that's going to be coming up. And then we got 3 other shows, and one of those shows is going to be dedicated naturally to the politics of it all. We're going to probably have a lot of candidates here, and we're going to be interviewing these candidates. We're going to probably take those voters pamphlets, and I got a person like Renee here that's going to make sure, if you will, that whatever is said in those voters pamphlets is fact.
And no, I'm not wasting my time.
That's going to be
pretty much.
That's why I'm saying she's not going to be wasting the time, because she's going to go right through it. So if you're going to come on the show, and if you are a candidate, you're going to make sure that your resume reflects what you are, and not something that's on the sideboard. Yeah. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting. And the other thing that we're going to be targeting, and we're going to focus on, we're going to have a candidates fair. Almost like League of Women Voters, for the candidates and aspect of it. We're going to do that right here at I know I'm still heavy into PCM.
PCM.
I can never.
Open Signal.
Yeah, be Open Signal. But we're going to be doing a candidates fair here with all of the candidates here, and it's going to be brought to you by the Oregon Voters Digest. And we're going to do that during the week, and we're going to give every candidate the opportunity to come and speak. And then we're going to constantly rerun.
So every candidate now has the opportunity to come and volunteer for the show.
Now look at you.
And if they don't,
don't do that. but anyway.
We'll wonder about whether they really want to be Talking to people.
They want to do that. We're going to make sure that because it's a very serious piece. But anyway, I'm starting out with that way and doing our little general discussion in this particular show. We may bring up some of those other things about ideas and whatever. Okay. But the idea is that I've got Renee here with me. Just to give you an idea that Renee she's been in this business for a long, long time. She's been here at PCM Open Signal now for a number of years. And she's got good background. She knows politics. She's been involved in politics.
I don't know whether I'd say I know politics.
She's graduated.
I smell things out in politics.
She's really into politics aspect of it, so it's going to be very enjoyable. Yeah. And we'll probably have some other entities, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that we want to welcome her to this table. She might just want to do the politics of it all, and then these other two shows will do something else or whatever. She might be a host, and she might be a moderator in some of these candidates fair thing or whatever. She might, but anyway. But the whole idea is that we are going to have something that really communicates to the voters as to who these people are if they're running for office, and also what are these ballot measures and things. For instance,
speaking of ballot measures,
let's just start
with number 5.
Okay, fine. Now
5 is not the first one. Before
you get into that deal, for the layperson that's sitting out there, what is a ballot measure?
Okay, well, there's actually 3 different kinds of ballot measures.
Okay.
Number 1 is the initiative, and that's what we normally think of as ballot measures. That's where somebody says, hey, I've got this great idea, I want to get it on the ballot. They sponsor a ballot petition, which is like, they all look like this on the back. Okay. They'll all say different things, but they'll all have the same things on the back of them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You'll have a space in here where they'll have a sponsorship. So you're a citizen, you're a person, you're an organization, and you want to put something on the ballot. You get together and you get signatures to get this on the ballot. Mm-hmm. That one has a 2-step process, and I'll get back to that one, but I don't want to confuse you right now. So there's one that's the citizens decide they want something on the ballot, and they put it up. That's called an initiative.
That's an initiative.
That's an initiative. Okay. Then you have a referral.
A referral.
Referral is when either a representative or a senator from the state of Oregon decides, hey, I think this is a good ballot measure, and they want to put it on the ballot.
Oh, okay.
So there's an initiative from the people, a referral from the legislators.
Can they do it both?
Oh, yeah. No, you can't do both. It's either one or the other.
One or the other.
Legislators or citizens. So legislators sign on with other legislators. Citizens sign on with other citizens to do initiatives. So it's the same thing, wanting to get your good idea on the ballot. But this one comes from the legislators, and lots more of them, and they cost a lot more money usually. And this one over here comes from the citizens. So those are those two.
But if the good idea comes from the citizen and they want to get involved and take the credit, if you will, they can't just say, "Hey, for heck with you," and we're just going to go we're going to go with the language that I edit.
No, that isn't how it happens. The state, all right, if it comes to, let's do the third one first, and then we'll go back to that.
All right, okay.
The third one is a referral.
Okay.
So the legislatures pass something that the citizens decide, hell no, we don't like this idea. This sucks. We want this guy out. Mm-hmm. So they initiate what's called a referendum. And that can rescind or take away what the legislators have already put in place. And there's actually 2 of those on the ballot, this measure, this term. So there's 2 referendums on the ballot to get those referrals from the legislators that got passed, because they did get on the ballot. Mm-hmm. They got passed, so they want them taken away and thrown out. So there's 2 referrals and 3 initiatives. So there's 3 things from the people and 2 things from the people that says, hell no, we don't like what you did.
Okay. So the referrals are done by the
legislators.
Okay.
Right. They do referrals.
And then the people.
And they pass it among themselves and send it on and say, yay, we like it. Sometimes they let us vote on them.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't. So, and then going back to the initiative, which was the people have decided this is a good idea, we want it on the ballot. That's a 2-step process. The first step is you have to collect 1,000 signatures. that say, yeah, 1,000 people think this is a good idea. And then you get the okay to collect between 89 and 112,000 signatures to get it actually on the ballot.
How do they determine that number?
Good question. Has to do with some kind of representation that it has to do with your representation in the Senate, and I'm not sure exactly how that works, but there's a ratio, and it's between 88,000 to 129, I think, and 112,000. It's there's two different kinds that you have. That these are all, I think, all of these are 89,000. Maybe one of them's 112. No, one of them's 58. The referrals. The referendums are only 58,000.
The referendum.
Yeah, the referendums are only 58,000, but the initiatives, you have 1,000 signatures that says, "Hey, we're serious. We want to do this," and then after the 1,000 signatures, you get your big signature sheets, and then you have to collect 88,000.
But the referral from them, are they less than as far as the numbers for gathering, or is it just something?
No, the referral.
From the.
Not quite sure of the referral. The referral is they. The legislature may refer any bill it passes to voters for approval.
Okay. And
so they say, we passed it, we think it's a good idea, and we're going to let you vote on it, by the way. See, they pass a boatload that we don't get to vote on.
But then if the citizens say, heck no, they can do their own thing through this process, right? To the other
Well,
process.
this is, yeah.
Okay.
It's it's a little bit more complex than that. I don't want to confuse what we're trying to get across that people can understand. And this is the three-step process. So the thing with the signatures is, with the initiative that comes from the people, if you sign the first one for 1,000 signatures, right? You can't sign the second one.
Really?
No.
Will they be counted? Will they be counted?
Well, what happens is they audit them. So they take sheets and they look for duplicates.
Okay.
If they find a duplicate, they wipe out 400 signatures.
Okay.
That's why you want to get lots more.
But they will be counted with the initiative that's being discussed. Let's put it that way.
Not if they find a duplicate. If they find a duplicate, no. The one, see, it would be considered a duplicate. So you signed the first one for 1,000.
That gets it.
You're done.
Okay.
You shouldn't sign that one again.
Okay.
To complicate matters, this one will have one number, that one will have another number. So you know, this is why I invented this card. So you can keep track of what's going on, and you don't get so confused as to what you're signing. But that's the only one where there's a problem. However, you have to be careful to remember which one you have signed, because again, if you sign it twice, they happen to catch your signature. You've invalidated 400 other signatures. So that's why it's really good to keep track. What numbers did I get? 5, 11, 14, 17. What number did I keep track of? So you have to really keep track of what have I signed and what I haven't signed in order to know, be responsible for signing your
Now, the initial sponsor for that, meaning the person that goes, what do we have to do? They go down to Secretary of State's office to get this?
It's a really long, involved process. There are people who sort of dedicate themselves to doing it over and over on all sides of politics, okay? There are the people who sponsor petitions on all sides of politics because they know how to do it.
Okay.
And it's not an easy process. It's a very onerous process. It's a very costly process. And if you want to get an initiative on the ballot, unless you've probably got $20,000 hanging about as spare change you can just blow, don't even think about it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you have to have money to do this.
Well, what about, is there anybody at the Secretary of State's office that will help you understand what that's all about? How do you do that?
Yes and no.
Do they help you fill it out?
Well, yes and no. The thing is that if you get to the stage of having done an initiative, you're sort of expected to know what you're doing and how to do it and figure it out yourself or pay for it to be done. Okay? And the political parties, mostly by the vast majority, the Democratic Party in this state, and to a very limited to a very limited degree, the Republican Party, but mostly the Democratic Party, have these vast organizational structures to do this kind of stuff, get people elected, get people on farm teams, get them in rotation in this position and then that position and then that position. Then we run them for a legislator and then we run them for governor. There's a whole kind of machinery that goes on with this whole political thing. But like I said, mostly in Oregon particularly, only on the Democratic side. The Republican side is pretty dysfunctional. And the only reason, my personal opinion is, the only reason it exists is to keep up the appearances of a two-party system. Because I don't think we have one here in Oregon. I think it's a joke. And that we really run everything through the neighborhood associations, particularly here in Multnomah County.
Well, you know, it's interesting about this initiative process. That's the people aspect of it. And they're basically reacting and saying, I'm concerned about this. And then the idea is that you would think that the folks who are elected from that particular area that they're from, you would think that they would sign off on this.
Well, it doesn't quite work that way because it does split along political principles. Like the number 5. Okay, number 5 is the first one. This states that you must be a citizen in order to vote in the state of Oregon. And that actually is not, it's legally true, but in fact, it's far from the truth. Because in this state, you can literally sign up online. I could do it right now as my dog. Right now, I could do it. And nobody's going to check anything. And I can vote in everything except federal elections. And that's it. I don't have to show any ID. I don't have to give any driver's license. I don't have to do anything. I can just sign up to vote. No problem. Now, if I want to vote in federal elections, or if I happen to be a responsible person, I give them a driver's license number.
So one.
Yeah, you want to sign up a dog? We can do it right now.
No, but my point is that if you just signed up for the state aspect of it,
yeah,
you're saying those are not verified.
No, no, they don't have to be verified.
That's what they did in the county.
Well, their signatures are verified, but their identity isn't. Do you understand? I was part of voter fraud, spotting voter fraud, and I found 400 voters who didn't exist because no one can tell me that, you've been voting 14 years after you're dead. Okay? I'm sorry. I found voter after voter after voter who had died and was still voting. Oh, had perfect, glorious voting record. Did they vote Democrat or Republican? Who cares? They voted. Somebody voted their ballot. I found I think 600 locations where the ballot was going to a post office drop, not a post office box from the post office department, but one of those mail drop places, right? And I found things like 3 out of the 4 people at the post box drop had the same first name, or all 4 of them had the same birth date. Yeah, right. Okay. So there's all kinds of voter fraud going on out there. It has not been cleaned up. The only way to clean up voter fraud is to purge the voter rolls, which hasn't been done in about 3 decades now.
You know, in all due respect, I was reading an article in the Oregonian a couple of days ago, I guess, and Dennis Richardson, the Secretary of State, was quoted as saying that, because I think the Trump administration had asked him, had said that there were a lot of voter fraud going on in the state of Oregon.
Just a little bit.
And he said it was only 40. There was only 40 people, I guess.
Yeah, 40.
40 out of thousands of people who had voted.
I've got 400. Want to look at my records? No problem.
I guess the question I'm asking is that now they do have a record on every voter here. I mean, when you file, don't they have a record? They had to check to see whether or not those people were real, legit.
No, there's no record to check that these people are legitimate. Okay, there's no process to go out and check that people are legitimate. No, there isn't. That's what the Voter Integrity Project was all about. I said voter fraud, but that's Voter Integrity Project.
This is interesting.
So there's no identification. Seriously. Get your phone. No, you can go there. Anybody can go through the whole process. You don't have to follow through because it's a felony. Don't do that. But you can do it, and you've registered a voter. Yeah. All the homeless are registered. All the homeless are registered. A lot of them, even though they don't live anywhere, but they're registered. Supposedly, how do you know whether a homeless person is registered or not, or whether it's some bogus name?
So when you register, you can just give any number, whatever. You can just put any address. Is that what you're saying? They don't verify or certify the
No,
They
No.
don't say that.
No.
Do they ask you for your
No.
Social Security number at all?
Then, let's see, I don't know whether your Social Security number is in there. No, I don't think your Social Security number is in there. But what they do ask for is a driver's license number.
Okay.
And if you give a driver's license number, then that's your bona fides. That's the one that validates you, and
Yeah,
you get to vote in federal elections.
Well, in that particular
so
case,
basically,
they do ask you for your if you got a driver's license, they ask you for a Social Security number. They ask you
I'm
for
pretty
address.
sure it doesn't ask you for a Social Security number because,
Yeah,
no,
your driver's
you don't.
license. Oh yeah.
No, but your driver's license is your bona fides because you have to have your Social Security number to get your driver's
That's
license.
right. That's right.
So,
and a bona fide
in
address.
theory, you have a real driver's license.
Yeah, you gotta have a.
In theory. But anyway, back to the ballot measures. Just a quick summation
All
of
right.
them. Number 5 is, again, from the citizens who decided that it would really be a good idea if you were a citizen to vote. Obviously, for this reason, that you could register your canary. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I would like to have some bona fides that the person who's actually filling this crap out on OregonVotes.com is actually a real human being. I'd really like to know that. So, yeah, I'm all for Measure 5. So, it needs this one needs 117,578
So
signatures.
Who are the signers?
Who are the lead people?
Yeah, who are the lead
Are
people? Who's doing
Mike Neerman and James Bugle.
and James Bugle.
James
okay.
Bugle, who's
I happen to know
an
James
environmental
Bugle.
lawyer here in town.
Yeah, in fact, he happens to be the president of the Multnomah County Republicans,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Here in
Multnomah
Portland,
County
Multnomah
Republican
County.
Party is the
And Neerman is
chair
a
of that.
representative up in Southeast Oregon.
Yep. Well, he's an environmental lawyer who deals in environmental law and a lot of other areas. James deals in so many areas, but
No,
he's
I'm
very
talking about Neerman.
Oh, Neerman.
Neerman's a representative.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's a representative. Yeah, okay, good.
And
So
he's
those are
sponsored
the-
to come.
those are
So,
the two.
so
Well,
that one's for citizens. You have to be a citizen.
And what was
to
that
vote.
again? And what was that?
That's
You have to
number
be a-
5.
You have to be a citizen to vote.
You have to be a citizen
Okay, cool.
to vote.
That might be somebody we might.
So,
invite-
you know,
we might invite on here
and personally,
to let
I
them
think
know.
that
I think that's a very
you should at
interesting piece.
least be vested as a citizen
Lord,
in order to vote.
Look like
Other
to me that-
countries,
look like
there
that
are,
shoulda- Look like that should have been done a long time ago.
well,
Wow.
you know, there are a lot of people who would argue, and I can give you the reasons, but, you know.
Oh.
Number 22
Okay, what is that one?
is one that declares Oregon a non-sanctuary state.
Okay.
Now, there's been some talk recently about it isn't going to matter whether you're a sanctuary state or not. You still get the bribery from the federal government. But again, I consider being a sanctuary state a direct affront to my very close neighbors who live across the street from me, who at 85 years old have to travel to Turkey to see their son. It's an affront to the trouble and the hardships these people went through to get to this country to make this a sanctuary state. I'm sorry.
How'd they get here?
Clawing their way here and clawing their way out of Iraq. So I'm sorry. I consider being a sanctuary state an affront to people like, you know, our neighbors.
And these are basically undocumented workers, right?
No, these are
undocumented folk.
people that says, "Oh, come on down, kumbaya. Anybody can come to this state, and we don't care where you came from or what you did or how you got here." And the thing is that I know Amjad and Zia's story before, during, and after they got to this country, and by God, it is an affront to them that you can just sneak across the border or just come on in and pay a few bucks and get into the country, and kumbaya, you're as good as they are. I'm sorry, no. And so that's why no sanctuary state.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
And
that's number
who's
22.
the principal on that?
And the principals on this one are Mike Neerman, Sal Esquivel. Ha. Doesn't sound like an Irish name to me. And Greg Barretto. So,
I know Beretta is a representative.
yeah.
And
Sal Esquivel, I'm not sure who Mr. Esquivel is, but, they're not,
Okay. Okay.
people who get here by hard work and sacrifice are not keen on being a sanctuary state, folks. So that's the real truth. The next one is a referendum. Now, a referendum rescinds what the legislatures did.
With the legislature.
Yeah.
Because the legislature was the one that actually
They passed
created
something. They
passed
created a
something,
bill
created a bill that said sanctuary
well,
city.
we're not going to even let you vote on it. Kumbaya, we're going
Oh,
direct.
really? How
Oh,
did that
yeah,
happen?
yeah. They
Really?
do it all the time.
Let's talk a little bit about that. They do that all the
Oh,
time?
yeah.
But
Hey, oh, look, this is a good idea. And think of how much money we could make. Yeah, let's pass it.
interesting. Oh.
Yeah, okay, that's what they do. That's what they spend a
What
lot
the
of time
discussions
doing.
we're going to have here on the
Okay.
Oregon Voters Digest.
Now, this is
awesome.
a referendum,
Okay.
which means, hell no, we don't think that's a good idea.
As far as the sanctuary city piece.
No,
So
this is another one. This is another
this
one.
one here.
No, this is sanctuary as an initiative.
Yes, that's an initiative.
Again,
That's the people.
saying,
That's the people. Okay.
we think that'd be nice if you were a
Okay.
citizen if you
Okay.
got to vote
Okay.
in this country.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Now,
You
the
got
first
another
the first referendum I want to talk about is 301. And this is the one, I call it the gotcha
Gotcha.
referendum.
Okay. And what does it
Because
mean? What are they doing?
HB 2391.
What is that?
That was House Bill, get
Right,
it? House
okay,
Bill.
right,
They
okay.
initiated it. 2391 said, we're going to tax those horrible, terrible insurance companies. Boo! Let's put a tax on them. And everybody went, yay! And they referred it to the people and they said, see, we're going to tax all these horrible insurance companies. And the people went, yay, we'll vote on that. And they forgot to read it. Because in the bill it says, oh, and by the way, we're going to let the insurance companies get the money back from you.
They said that in the bill.
Yeah.
And who are these people? Let's start.
Well,
with
this is the remember the people are who
initiative.
did the dirty are the
the
are
initiatives.
legislators. Okay. Okay.
I thought
They
that was a
passed a
referral.
bill.
Okay.
They passed a bill.
They passed
It was
a bill.
referral. They
That's a
passed a bill
referral,
and said,
right?
we're going to make those dirty insurance companies pay all this money,
Okay.
but we're going to let you get the money back from the people.
Okay. And then the people said, wait a minute.
And they referred it to the
someone,
people.
Someone caught it.
No, they didn't. See, they referred it to the people, and the people said, yes, let's beat up on those insurance companies.
Okay.
And they passed it,
Okay.
but they didn't read it. Because in the bill it said, oh, and you're going to pay for it anyway.
Okay. Then the people read it. And
They
saw
didn't.
It.
They didn't read it.
They
No,
didn't read it.
no. Other people said, you dummies, look what you've done.
Well, other people like whom?
Let's
Elected
see.
officials or what?
Who passed this
who
one?
passed
Oh,
it?
this is Julie Parrish, Sal Escobel, and Cedric Hayden. These are the people who sponsored this bill and said, silly people,
Okay.
you let them pass you another tax.
Okay.
You believe the
people need to
legislators
know that.
again.
Okay.
Okay.
Bring it
And
back.
Julie Parrish is the legislator. She said, you
And-
believe these idiots again.
Okay. And who passed it initially? In the
I don't
legislature?
know who was behind 2391, but somebody who wants to spend your money.
Were they Republican, Democrats, or
Who
what?
knows? I really don't know,
You don't
and you'd
know?
have to go look it up. All I'm saying
need
is,
to know that.
who's stupid enough to pass it? We were.
Well, it'd be neat to have that person. who
Well,
literally
the thing
put
is that
piece
we need
together
to
solid.
we need to start reading the bills and stop passing the crap.
Yeah.
You know,
But
read
you
the
know-
bill and you wouldn't have passed it.
But you make a good point there, because in all due respect, one of the things that I think, as far as a voter, even myself from that standpoint, I'd like to know who was initiated to begin with.
Well,
Whether it be
see,
sanctuary
that's
city or
always
whatever.
that's always there, but people never pay any
That's
attention
what I'm
to
saying.
it.
And that
Okay.
needs to be known.
Well, nobody wants to bring it out because if
can.
you look at
We
both
can do that.
sides,
We
you're
can
going
do
to
that.
see relatively the same people because basically those are the same activists doing all the work.
Hmm.
But the point is that it's up to everyday person to educate themselves to know what's on this little card. If you don't know the difference between an initiative, a referendum, and a referral, why are you voting?
I'll tell you what, we'll take a minute and then we'll go on and take a short break, and then we'll just come back to this. I think it's very interesting, okay? Can we take a short break? We'll just go on and take a short break, and we'll be right back with you. I think this is very interesting. Boy, I tell you, the future of the Voters Digest is awesome. I like it.
Yeah, well, these,
Take a short break. We'll see right back.
yeah.
They're working on it right now. Okay?
They're not taking any
There you go.
prisoners.
See that? Welcome back, folks. The Oregon Voters Digest. Boy, I tell you, I hope you like that first half hour here with me and Renee, and we've just been talking about things in all due respect that the voter, the average voter, doesn't know.
No.
They don't know, and that's what.
Don't know about the process. Don't know about the things.
And that's one of the things that the Voters Digest has been doing for years, And you know, what is that? What are those processes, if you will, to actually get to the point, one person, one vote, right? You got me? And on issues that are relevant, if you will. Here we go. I'm using a word that you may
one person, one vote, not one dog, one vote.
One person, one vote aspect of it. But anyway, just that first 30 minutes, Renee, you've sort of educated me just right off the bat, and I'm sure that they would appreciate it. But what we're going to do, we're going to go beyond that point too. We're going to bring these folks here who basically signed off on this stuff.
Yeah.
My point, and have them discuss it, and we'll discuss it with them, just to make sure we keep
definitely,
it straight up, right?
Because I'd like to talk to some of these people about some of the, especially 301 is the one that I've spent a lot of time collecting signatures
So we're back
for.
with you right now, and we're just going to go back where we stopped, and we got another initiative on the table here.
This is 301, and this is a referendum. Again, this is the people saying hell no.
This is a referendum, right?
This is a referendum.
And these are the people that are saying,
hell no, we didn't like what you passed.
Okay.
This is the people saying to the legislatures, didn't like your idea.
Okay. And which one is this?
And this is the one on the Health Care Act.
Healthcare. Who signed it?
Okay.
Let's find out who's the
this
principal.
is the principals on this one are Julie Parrish, who is a representative, Sal Escobar, and Cedric Hayden. I don't know either of those two people. And this is about, there was a measure passed last year by the House Bill 2391, and it was to put a tax on health care. And the idea was, boo, we're going to tax those nasty insurance companies, and you're going to, we're going to make them pay more. Well, that's what they told everybody. But when the bill came out and everybody signed off on it, says, yes, let's tax those insurance companies. Nobody bothered to read the bill because hidden in the bill was the prerogative of the insurance companies to get the money back from the people. So it's just a backdoor tax.
That's what we were just talking.
Yeah, it's just a backdoor tax.
That's different than the other one we talked about. Was this different?
Yeah, this is different. This is just a backdoor tax on your health care.
Okay.
And it was sold to them by saying, this will provide free abortions for everyone in Oregon. Well, hello, folks. If you're in Oregon, you can get a free abortion anytime, anywhere, for just about any reason already. So you don't need another tax to make that happen. Number one. Number two, folks, this is just a tax. It's a tax on your health care, which makes it more expensive, which drives up the prices, which means you're going to pay more. So this is
a referendum.
This is a referendum saying, no, we don't want to pay more for our health tax because you want to make more money.
So what do they do? They throw that one, the other one,
it throws the other one out.
And then this.
Yeah. This one says, when this gets on the ballot.
Then they have nothing. Then they have nothing.
And then they have nothing. They have to start all over again and try and tax us another way.
At the legislature. In the legislature. Okay, cool.
Which that's kind of what their full-time job is. Let's figure out how we can tax them. So that's the first referendum.
What gets me about this is that some of the same people who are over here on this side, who are the legislators, actually, that's part of that districts and this, that, and the other. They're part and parcel of the people. They're one of those individuals.
Well,
why didn't they bring this issue
up? The thing is that once they cross that line into being a representative of other people, something happens. And I don't know whether it's, a frontal lobe thing or what. But they turn into these beings that are no longer the people.
Well, they are as indeed. I mean, when they go to the legislature, they just
they're whatever they are. I'm not even going to grace them with the graciousness of giving them an R and a D. What they are people who want power over other people.
But they were elected though by the people here who are complaining.
Yeah, and at that point is when they stopped thinking people knew anything. That was the point. After the vote, then all of a sudden you're stupid.
I do feel that you believe that. The government is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Is that real or not?
Not today. It's government by the enforcer, for the enforcer, and of the enforcer.
Oh, these are people that we elected. I mean,
Well,
we
no,
should know
not. I didn't elect any of these guys.
But they had to have been elected
They got in. Let's put it that way.
by people who were knowledgeable, right?
I'll say they got in. I'm not going to say how they got there.
Oh, okay. We need to talk about that.
I just really okay. The second referendum on the ballot. This rescinds House Bill. I think it's House Bill 709 or Senate Bill 709, which was a gun control bill.
The one we just discussed was Julie Parrish. Now she's a representative. I know that.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else that signed off on this with her?
No one who's sponsoring it. I don't know whether anybody signed off on it. You can look it up on.
There's only one person that's just her name.
She's the only representative. No, this is the chief petitioner. Now the thing is that remember, other representatives don't sign off on referendums. Okay,
she's the chief petitioner. She's the only name on there. Is that what you're saying?
No. That's Sal Esquivel and Cedric Hayden.
You said Julia.
Julie Parrish.
Okay, she's on there too.
She's a representative, right?
Okay.
But it's representatives can sponsor, can not sponsor, but can be chief petitioners.
Okay.
But over here with the referendum is when you get other representatives to sign on. That's the only time you get other representatives to sign on. It's really, this thing is not designed for people to understand it. Trust me, they don't want you understanding this stuff. The other referendum is rescinding Senate Bill 709. I think it's Senate Bill, I hope. And this is about gun control.
Okay.
So it's 709 was putting on gun control. This one is taking it back off and saying, no, we have quite enough. Thank you. Control of the gun is not the problem. Control of the legislature.
Wasn't the governor involved in that whole process? That one.
709. I don't know about 709.
That made big news. That was in the Oregonian front page.
Yeah.
That basically she signed off on that deal, big time.
Well, she'll sign off on anything. And look, I'm sorry. A person who doesn't even know what her sexuality is, I'm sorry.
Well,
doesn't really even know who the hell she is. So I really don't have much respect for her opinion on much of anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But the gun control, let's talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. You would pick the one I knew the least about. I just picked this one up yesterday, so I don't know too much about.
Who's the chief petitioner?
Let's see. 302 is... Chief petitioners are Terry Greer, Bill Post, and Mike Neerman.
Okay.
So it's really good to have.
I think Bill Post is a representative.
I don't know my representatives, and
I know Neerman is a representative.
It's like I wish I knew my Tai Chi moves. That's more important to me than my representatives, to be honest with you. Now, the only other thing I'd like
before you leave that part, I take it there.
Oh wait, we've got one more.
What's the other?
We got one more. Sorry, I've got one more. I forgot about that. Number 1, which is the no state-funded abortions.
No state-funding abortions.
No state-funded abortions.
And who's doing this now?
I'm not.
But right now,
I'm not sure. It's the same people who keep. I think. I can't remember their name. Anyway, look. I don't care what you do with your body. If you want to go get an abortion, I've had 2. So it's not like I'm against abortion. I just don't want to pay for it.
This is a referendum.
Yeah. No, this is an initiative.
Oh, this is an initiative.
This is an initiative from the people.
But I thought you said it was already instituted.
No. This one, they have been trying this one a lot.
Okay.
This one's been over and over. And again, it's what it's saying is...
But it's okay now in the state.
No, there is state-funded abortions.
Okay.
And this is to...
This is saying...
This is where it gets really complex. Because there's ways things are done, and then the ways you stop them from being done.
Okay.
One of the ways is an initiative. Another way is a referendum. Okay. So it's how the thing was initiated as to which one you use to stop it.
Okay. So this was pretty well.
This is an initiative to say we don't want any state-funded abortions.
Okay. That's what it is.
And basically, I'm with them because, frankly, A, you can get a free one. They're sponsored all over the state, so you don't need me to pay for it. And number 2, I do not think that is a viable or good use of my funds, my state or the state funds or the state's time, energy, money, whatever. So no.
So the law doesn't prevent a private entity from
No. You can get a free abortion right now.
So there's no problem.
No. You can hold your breath. I could hold my breath and run to a place from here and probably get one.
Interesting. Okay.
You know,
interesting.
probably
And
not
who-
that
and
much
who-
time,
and
but
who basically was on the referendum? Yeah.
let's see. I don't know on one. On
Okay.
one, I can look it up, but I really don't know.
Okay. Well,
But
Planned
the-
Parenthood plays a role in that piece.
Planned Parenthood, no. It's about it's
They're on the other
anti.
side.
They're definitely on the other
On the
side.
other side,
Yeah.
okay,
And I
okay.
just,
Okay.
you know,
Now,
have my own thoughts about
before you
Planned
jump from
Parenthood.
these aspects of it, I take it these are ones that you've been involved
Yeah.
in somewhat.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's a number of others.
I don't know
But
whether
I'm just
there are
saying,
or not.
okay.
There may be.
But
And
one-
people can go and just type in ballot measures,
yeah, okay.
Oregon.
There you
Ballot
go.
measures, Oregon.
Ballot measure, and then they
And then everything will come up. That's on, or 2017.
And then that sheet comes out basically.
No,
So
no.
well,
These,
the name of the deal,
the
name of the initiative, the referendum,
names and the numbers will come up.
and the
They
chief
should.
petitioners, right?
No, you have
Chief
to
petitioner?
ferret. Look, if you want political information,
Yes.
you got to figure out how to be a ferret, okay?
Wow.
Because the state, the county, the city, the neighborhood association, none of them have made it easy for you to acquire information that would really make you a knowledgeable voter, okay? It's not like it's easy to get information. So you have to know how,
Wow. Wow.
if you really want to ferret
Well, I
stuff
mean,
out.
that is a major concern, though, too. You know what I mean? Should they not make government a little bit, especially the paperwork aspect of it?
If they made government any more
90% or so of the
transparent, then we'd be able to see more of what they were doing we didn't like. Okay, no, they don't want it any more transparent. No.
Interesting. Okay.
No. It's just like, it's exactly like they like it. Complex.
But it's like a foreign entity, as if from the standpoint that they've got total control,
Yeah.
and they're not
Yeah.
elected to office. They are elected to office, and there's a certain amount of responsibility that goes to the voters.
Only
Wouldn't
if you can make them take the responsibility. See, we don't have any. What people are forgetting is you can raise your fist and beat the air all you want, but unless you have a means to hold someone accountable, so what? Who cares?
Well, you got to buy.
Yeah. You got this great piece of paper called the Bill of Rights. Burn it.
Well,
Because nobody cares, nobody can enforce it. So what's
but
the
as you say,
point?
there are other accessible, like ads in the newspaper, radio ads, and TV ads, and things like that. But you got to have some money.
Well, not so much money as you have to have influence and power. I know a lot of people who don't have any money but have a lot of influence and power.
Share that with me a little bit. What do you mean? Like what?
Okay,
I know-
as
I
an
know the money
example,
part. I know the money.
actually he had a lot of money, but he didn't have nearly as much money as the people he played with. Behind Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson, there was another man who was always seen with him, both of those gentlemen, a lot, and his name was Edward Mandell House. Nobody knows who Edward Mandell House is, and you won't find his name anywhere. But he was the person who was the mentor to both of those men. And he was the one who seeded them with a lot of information and ideas and suggested they go this way and that way and this way and that way.
And they were by the way, they were former president of the United States.
Yes, and they had a mentor, someone who guided them in the ways they needed to be guided and in the directions they needed to be guided. And this is the way a lot of politics is done at all levels.
You think more so today than during that particular time, or not?
I think it's just been the same throughout. What's changed is the education level of the populace, the principled nature of the populace, and the ability of the populace to effect change in their own environment. Those three things have been astronomically changed. But the process
For the better?
No, actually, much for the worse. The people who are elected, they're the same, pardon the expression, assholes, rip-off artists, crazy people, and thieves that there were back in 1750, okay? But you had a principled populace who could kind of rein them in check. Now we don't have that. We have an educational system that turns out people who can't even think, who can't even add, who can't even give you change out of a $5 bill when they graduate from high school. So how much of how good of an electorate are you going to have with that kind of a mentality going on? And what are they going to elect? What are they going to vote for?
But you said education, and I think, just as a layperson, I'm thinking about the courses that were available, with like American history, there was social studies.
Yeah, all with an agenda, all with the agenda of where we want you to go, what we want you to think, not we want you to be a critical thinker. Education since 1913 has been geared in the direction of this is the way we want you to think, not we want you to be a critical thinker. It's been agendaed and pushed, and it was done starting in 1913. Carnegie, Pew, Rockefeller, all the big major foundations had billions of dollars that they were allowed to squirrel away in non-taxable foundations, nonprofits. Were created in 1913. So they put billions and billions of dollars away, non-taxed, in these organizations, and then bought chairs in all the major universities around the United States, and therefore determined where the educational system was going to be going. So that's how the educational system was co-opted through the use of the non-taxable. So the non-taxable is just that the non-profit is this little bone they threw to the peasants and said, here, we'll let you play with that one. Well, we're playing the big game up here with the billions and billions of dollars, and we're determining how people will be educated, what they will consider to be truth, how they will be, what will be their world view and their ideas of how things operate on this planet. They co-opted the whole educational system, so they determined what it was.
Wow.
And that was done through the non-taxable.
And you're saying books and things of that nature?
Well, of course. These are the educators. These are the top educators. They bought the chairs, right? So the people who they bought were beholding to those organizations. So they said, yes, sir, we will follow your orders as to what you would like us to push in the educational system. And that's what they did. And they pushed all of the things that we now see that are coming here. Because in 1850, between 1850 and 1870, we had the highest rate of literacy in this country, and it was at 97%, and it was bar, color, or class. Across the board, there was 97% literacy. And then we had the educational system come into creation in the 1870s, 80s, and 90s. And then what happened? Things started going downhill, and now you get a Jefferson High School graduate who can't even read. What, you think this happened by accident? We just pour more money in it, it's going to make it better? No, it's not going to make it any better, because you've got a one-room classroom in Zimbabwe, and kids can come out of that classroom learning how to read. How come someone graduating from Jefferson can't? That's a problem, I think. It ain't the classroom, so we don't need more trees torn down and prettier buildings, do we?
Well, we just had an election. I mean, those folks they seem pretty articulate. Do you think?
Yeah, they got a lot of this and none of this. You know, mouthful of gimme and a handful of much oblige. Remember that term?
Oh, that's
remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they got. A handful of gimme. Give me your vote, give me your money.
That's major
and a
concern.
Handful of much oblige. You know.
That's a major concern.
Well, it's a concern because people keep voting the same jerks in. So if you keep voting the same washing machine of launderers in, you're going to keep getting the same results.
But then I'm thinking about it. We just had an election, and Julia Brehm Edwards, you know what I mean, and she was a former board member of Portland Public Schools. She's now the new chair. She got elected. She's the new chair. She comes from the corporate community, i.e. Nike for that matter.
Right.
And and she's had background and whatever, and the whole charge is that we're going to make this better, make this situation better.
Do you seriously think one lone soldier is going to make any kind of a difference?
Well, she's the chair.
Yeah, she's the chair. And how much power are they seriously going to give her? Haven't we had these chairs before?
She's from corporate.
Well, it's not where she's from. It's how much power are they going to give her?
Well, she's got the power. She's the new chair.
Yeah, there she's the new chair.
They didn't have to vote her
Whoop-de-doo.
in. They didn't vote her. They voted her in. I mean, you know what?
Yeah, but again, Bruce.
Power.
Are they going to give her any power, or are they just going to give her the chair? You know? I've seen this happen before. It happened, I think it was in New York, about 2 years ago. Gung-ho, this woman came in there. It looks like gangbusters. She was going to tear it up. Wouldn't let her do a damn thing.
It was an Asian woman, I think.
No, this was I don't know what she was. I don't care about colors and races.
But
I hate races. I think the whole thing is just.
I could remember her fighting with the unions and whatever down there.
Yeah, well, it's just whoever they put in who's effective, they dismantle their ability to be effective by disengaging, by threatening the people who might help them. And helping the people who are going to tear them down.
But the other thing I was thinking about, I was reminded by a gentleman by the name of Matt Prophet. Very interesting guy. He was superintendent of Portland Public School. He was doing some great things and was really going through that whole progressive. Then all of a sudden one day it was bang.
Yeah.
Chopped him off.
Yeah, we found out that you're effective, and we don't want you being effective because we got plans for this system.
Wow, interesting.
Isn't it kind of obvious what's going on?
Yeah. And by the way, you can check out Matt Prophet on the history of the Voters Digest. I had the opportunity to interview Matt when he was gone, and he did a show, and I did the show. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. Check it out. Anyway, let's go on.
Good.
Keep going. Yeah.
Well, I got one more thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that I've talked about and a lot, and people thought I was kidding. I was in California. I don't know whether you can get a shot of that. I was in California in the 50s and the 60s, and there were lots of fires in California. Funny that. No
Interesting
kidding.
that you bring that.
Yeah. And you know what? Those bloody fires were put out in a week. The fires were put out in a week. And I mean, we had some big, bad butt fires in California in the 60s. And they managed to get them out in a week. And I couldn't figure out, well, how come here's this piddly butt little fire here and it's been burning for when? And we finally found out that, yeah, the policy is let it burn. If it's on federal land, they are actually prevented from going in there with any mechanization and fighting the fire. In other words, we're not going to drop D8 caterpillars in there to clear the land and men with chainsaws. No. We're going to drop men with axes and shovels.
Who signed off?
I don't know who signed off on it.
But it's federal land.
Federal land.
Well, it's the federal government, right? So basically.
Well, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but whoever it was should have a lobotomy. Because they're really with it.
Someone said that the state was involved in the process, and they didn't have enough money, and so let it burn.
No, it isn't let it burn. But what they do want to do is get people off the land, because you see, if you burn out the infrastructure, if you burn out people's houses, if you burn out their businesses, and you burn out their sources of income, then they have no option except to come into the city and be packed and stacked and controlled. So a good way of getting people off the land is to fire it. It's been tried for a lot of years.
That is another issue.
So their whole policy is to let it burn. So if it's to let it burn, then obviously it's not to let it save the land and save people's businesses and save people's lives, is it?
Tell me something, since you brought this issue up, what do you do with these two young men that started this fire? What do you do with these folks? They were there. They got two young men, and they admitted it, the whole 9-yard routine. What do you do with them? What do you do?
What do you do with them?
What do you do?
What do you do with them? Well, what would be a means of recompense to the people whose property they burned? What would make... I'm not the person to be asking what should happen to these people. What should happen? Who needs to be asked is, how can those people, those two boys, offer some kind of compensation to the people who lost everything? It's not. We've got to get out of this punishment mentality and into the compensation mentality of understanding that just because you lock somebody away for 45 years, well, that brings back my dead whatever. That brings back my property or my horse or my car. No. how can this person compensate me for what they've done?
So
because that makes everybody whole.
Yeah, but in all due respect, I hear what you're saying, because even those individuals, for instance, who were suffering from asthma and all that other good stuff, with smoke and the whole 9 yard, they too were caught, and they had to pick up the money, the tab, to pay medical bills.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It costs quite a bit of money.
So if we change our mentality from one of punishment to one of compensation, then there's all kinds of creative ways.
So they pay for life, so to speak.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't know because we haven't even thought about changing our ideas into this kind of a mode.
They're asking the question. People are asking the question.
Well, people are asking the question. They should ask themselves that if they're asking the question out there, then they should ask themselves, what would you want someone to ask of you to compensate someone else you infringed?
Okay.
You know, turn the question on yourself. Ask yourself, what would I expect of myself to compensate someone else that I damaged?
That's quite a question. That is quite a question. Well, look, we got about another minute here, and let's sort of wrap it up from the standpoint of saying that you got anything to say in lasting comments?
I think people need to just pay more attention to the stuff that they're saying, and be more attentive to the stuff that's coming out of their own mouth.
Okay.
And be more, what I'm noticing is people are lying a whole lot. Be more attentive to the things coming out of your mouth. Do I really know what's coming out of my mouth, or am I just saying it because it feels good?
And one other little quick note with reference to people who are wanting to run for office. What do you say to them if they want to run for office?
Make sure your mate is on board, or don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. If your family and your mate is not on board, your partner is not on board, drop it. Go do something else.
Interesting. Okay, good. Well, hey, look, folks, you've had it. And there's Renee, and then you have an idea of what the co-host types are going to be on this particular show, because we really have work to do. We really have work to do, and hopefully we will educate people who have some good ideas to possibly run for office, if you will. Okay?
And some good ideas about solutions.
And solutions, which is very, very key. Very, very key. So thank you very much, folks. We'll see you in the future. I'll see you next week. Renee, thanks.
Okay.
It's been great. Take care. Back to what you...